thinking, you know, big studio won't have a cutting edge to it. Gregory Peck, and how can he be scary? You know, I love him, but and I was just totally amazed. I think Donner is just one of our primo filmmakers. And if you look at his record, he has such depth to his career. I mean, it goes way back to television things I was watching when I was in high school. Every so often, he just knocks something out of the park with something that will play forever. Omen certainly was that. It probably will always be compared to The Exorcist. It's interesting, when I talk to students about how to make a scary movie, I say the first maniac you have to frighten the audience with is yourself. You know, the audience has to be sitting in the theater and thinking, this guy's insane. And I can't predict what he's going to do because he's crossing all boundaries of decency and everything else. I don't think Donner ever did that, and I don't think that's who he is. The Omen had much more of a sort of a dignity to it. But it was a delicious scare as opposed to one that made your hair turn white, you know. And in that sense, I think the genius of it was that it was definitely a studio presentation by a director who knew how to appeal to the popular audience. But it was very, very classy. It had magnificent montages in it. I mean, some of the things he pulled off in there in order to build the tension go way beyond The Exorcist. The Exorcist was much more insular and ended up all just in that room. The movie stars that he used were, you know, very midstream movie stars, very, very good ones, but certainly Gregory Peck goes all the way back to Kill a Mockingbird as sort of an establishment figure at the highest level, and to have him in a film that was dealing with this kind of material was really unusual, and I think that's part of the scariness of it, is that they had this guy of such immense dignity. He seems to be sort of almost magisterial, you know, he just seems to be on this level of our culture's taste and seriousness. But I think that all worked so great because it wasn't some guy screaming in, you know, flop sweater or anything. It was this, you know, incredible dignity. But when he got scared, then you figure, well, I definitely have to be scared.
The baby so much.
There's a very interesting aspect to this film, just in the way these two people relate, Gregory Peck and his wife, Leah Remick. Because where is she at the beginning when the baby dies? And he seems strangely grave about it, but not broken up about it when the baby is announced to have not survived.
What can I tell her? What will I say?
But it seemed strangely detached in a way for me. It didn't feel like he had lost his child so much as he had been presented with a problem that he was going to solve.
Your wife need never know.
And then to kind of arrange for her to have a child
Would be a blessing to her.
without consulting her.
And to the child.
It was an interesting kind of comment on the society at that time of men just kind of taking care of the little lady in a way, and then totally botching it, you know, with these kind of devil figures. You have to go back to the old country, and Rome especially, since that was kind of where Christianity really got its foothold. The shots of the old cemeteries and of the digs, you know, as was used in The Exorcist, it just makes you feel like, oh my God, it comes from that open grave sort of feeling.
The place where Christianity began.
And I think he kind of just stumbled on the gravity of the situation by the events that had happened and that he had photographed, and then could go back and check. So to him, it wasn't sort of you know, faith or charity or any of these sort of abstractions. It was actual markings on his photographs in the kind of non-human observer, the camera itself. It's great because she comes in like Mary Poppins. I'm going to make everything all right, you know? And just you people relax now because you're in the hands of a good English nanny. She didn't eat up the scenery. It was great until very, very late in the movie. There was no great evil in her face or anything. It was just this kind of stony competence. And all those little things of her just stepping over the line by increments that was really life. And then there's the war. And we never see it, but the priests know about it, and they're fighting it all the time, and that is the war between good and evil, and it's real, and there are physical ramifications of it, and they're kind of got their hands pressed to the door that's bulging, and at any moment, pure evil's going to break in and just take us all over. I think from time to time it's easy to believe that that's going on historically, but also I just believe one of our most ancient premonitions is that the darkness is going to get us, and what's in the darkness is going to get us. And that's kind of a delicious quandary for her to be in. It's one of the interesting things of the structure of the film is that the father has lied. I love stuff like that. I mean, it's all over my movies too, of somebody who has a terrible secret, and because they feel guilty about it, they don't convey some vitally important information. To think of something evil inside of your own child puts you in such a primally horrible position. Totally believable that they deny it for half the picture and just can't believe that anything like that is possible. It's like, I put her in this position, by lying. I think he kind of caught up with his wife. And that was an interesting thing to me because he kind of started as a cliche version of the man who, was in charge of everything and was totally competent, and then by degrees realizes that he is not competent to face this at all. I love that moment where they go into the priest's room and the whole room is papered with pages of the Bible. Brilliant. All the crosses. And Warner gave a great sort of, sense of reality to that, insinuating through. It's like somebody dumped open a basket of snakes in your house, just everywhere you look, there's this little musical thing going in there. The visit to the digs in Rome,
June,
where he had some weird flute sort of sound.
5 years
Slightly
ago.
autumnal, slightly off-kilter, but also very indigenous, with the Vietnam War and everything else. All of us were feeling like, is this the end world? And times it just feels so insane. When films last a long time, it's because in some way or another they're extraordinary, and they are entertainments. Certainly in the case of this, it was a film that, by staying just a notch away from the extremes of The Exorcist, made itself available to a much, much broader audience. Because people were able to watch it and be scared, but not repulsed and not just sickened. And it became one of the great delicious treats to watch the end, this evil child and everything else in a way that was scary and beautiful to watch and sometimes quite spectacular. And just a guy at the top of his form with a really, really good script and great backup, great musician behind him, great cinematographer, great costume design and production design. Just every once in a while, that confluence of the perfect movie comes together just like a perfect storm, and this is one of those cases.